They might be self-aware.
Yeah, it's Gary. Gary, the human voice actor they hired for $47 to do these intros. Still at this payphone eating gas station sushi. Today on They Might Be Self-Aware, Daniel pitches Ocean's 11, but with the Trix rabbit. And Hunter? Hunter offers $40 billion he doesn't have to buy Google Chrome. Also, Duolingo is replacing humans with AI, all while watching their revenue go up 40%. Me? I'm down to my last quarters. Enjoy the show. I'll be here teaching myself Swahili on the free tier.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
Raging across the AI Wasteland, you must be listening to They Might Be Self-Aware with Hunter Powers and
Daniel Bishop. Is this one of those cool, like, Mad Max wastelands where we get the car with, like, spikes on it and stuff?
150%.
Oh, awesome. I know that they're not good for, like, your gas mileage, but I assume in that AI wasteland we're all driving EVs that are charged by probably, like, ground up people or something at that point to really dystopia it up. Like, it's a Soylent Green sort of thing, but it's for cars instead. Is that anything?
You know, honestly, I didn't really think about it all that much. But, you know, sure.
I'm just awaiting. Look, I keep not getting the Meta "here's your $1 billion" offer in the email. So I've also started checking to see if anyone from Hollywood.
I didn't check today.
Yeah. Just like the sender is Hollywood, not even something at whatever.com. It's just Hollywood. Hey, Daniel. You've obviously got very good ideas. Would you like to make a movie? Boy, would I.
I got a bill from my electric company. That's all. That is my new email for the day.
Have you ever used, like, I'm not a screenwriter, for example. Have you ever used ChatGPT or any sort of large language model to, if not write a screenplay, certainly like, oh, what would a scene from this movie look like? Or what if this happened in this movie instead of this thing? How would that, like, affect the plot? Do you ever explore those, like, what ifs, or here's my treatment for a script for some kind of visual media?
Yes. So first there's my LLM hack of when the large language model refuses to answer a question, tell them you're writing a screenplay and create a scene where they talk about it. So there's that part of it. But I have on many times asked ChatGPT to write a treatment for this new TV show that I think would be interesting. Or I take two movies and say, what would come up with a plot if it was Godfather meets Weekend at Bernie's? And what does that look like? And how does it, flow? And I find it interesting to read through that. And I have used it to outline some fiction that I think would be interesting or some other stories. I mean, I assume you do some of that with the D&D work.
Yes. So, I mean, not for a movie or a TV show, but I definitely use generative AI, shall we say, in general. And I don't mean just large language models. I mean, for making, I've tried music. I've never successfully made something where, like, oh, I want this in the background while I'm playing. But I have tried that a couple of times. I've made some images as, like, visual aids, more for myself. And then I've definitely used it to, like, here are a bunch of ideas, help me sort of flesh this out and fill in some of the gaps, or give me, like, 5 options of what I could do next. And it's a very, very good, and I know literally last episode you were talking about, you don't talk to this like it's a person. It's not quite the same kind of conversational mode, but I really do have a fairly good flow of this collaboration back and forth of, I don't want you, the model, to tell me the answer. And in fact, something very like that has come out for Gemini and OpenAI, where they have, like, a study mode. It won't give you the answer. It'll kind of bring you in the direction of it.
Yeah, everyone has study modes now.
Yeah. And honestly, huge fan of that. Really, really huge fan of that. I don't know how many people are actually using it.
Have you used it for yourself?
No, absolutely not.
I want the answers.
I think that it's a really, really interesting idea to use these in a collaborative way, to not say, give me the answer, but rather head me in the direction of an answer, or give me a few different options that I could kind of explore. Because sometimes I've got, like, the creative spark, but I need some kindling to kind of put it to. Well, here's, like, 10 things that you could do with that spark. Oh, I liked and I do this all the time. It's not just Yes, pick number 1. Just do that. Yeah. It's this part of number 1 and that part of number 5, and also now you made me think of this new thing, and that really works for me.
It does. It reminds me. So there's a concept in management of coaching versus mentoring, and with the idea being that everybody wants a mentor, but what they need is a coach. Where the difference is that when you have a mentor is someone who's been there before and done what you're trying to do, and they're there to give you the answers. Here's all the shortcuts. Here's how you solve this problem. Oh, Dan, you got this giant problem. Here's how you do it. Oh, you're trying to build something new. I've done it before. Here are the 3 libraries you want to use. Import this, bring this over here. It's going to work for you. Everybody wants that because we want the shortcut. We want the quick fix, the hit, etc. But what we need is the coach. This is the give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat forever. We need the person.
Or a director.
A director?
A director. So from like the TV and movie perspective, Kurosawa, incredible director, made
and then Lucas
Seven Samurai. Well, you're right. So Star Wars is a sort of remake of Seven Samurai. The Magnificent Seven is basically just a remake of Seven Samurai. The Pixar movie A Bug's Life is basically a remake of Seven Samurai.
He's a very talented director.
Yes. And I've had this little idea in my head for a long time, and I never really had anything to do with it until I realized, large language models are very good at taking an existing thing and like applying a filter to it. Do this in someone else's voice, change this so that all the words are in alphabetical, or I don't know, whatever. Taking text and then using it to remake it as opposed to be creative from scratch. If you can say, do this, but in this other way, I think you've got something. And so my idea was, were you ever like a kid cereal kind of guy when you were a kid or otherwise?
The rule at my house was on Saturday mornings, you could have a sweet cereal. So,
okay. What was the sweet cereal? What'd you go for?
Wasn't anything terribly. I think it was like Cocoa Krispies.
Those are good.
I don't know. I think that was the winner.
I think of Trix, not because it's my favorite cereal. In fact, it's probably not even in my top 5.
I remember the ads.
Sorry, Trix.
They're ingrained in my brain.
I remembered the ads, and it was always the Trix rabbit trying to get the Trix from those kids. And those rascally kids just kept, no, silly rabbit, Trix is for kids. You can't have any. And then I saw Ocean's 11, and I thought, I want a remake of Ocean's 11, but it's the Trix rabbit and a bunch of other cereal mascots that he like brings together. Like Tony the Tiger is obviously the muscle, and then you have like Snap, Crackle, and Pop from
Rice Krispies.
Thank you, from Rice Krispies, who are just like, I guess, a trio of maybe they're the Demolitions guys, given like their names. Count Chocula, he's like the mysterious financier of the organization. Like, I want to see a heist film set in this cereal universe where the Trix rabbit is still played by George Clooney, by the way, like absolutely definitely his voice, kind of a, Fantastic Mr. Fox sort of scenario.
Yep.
But animated to look like the old cartoons. It's just a remake of Ocean's 11, but it's serial heist. And I'd watch the absolute snot out of that. Man, that'd be amazing. And you know who could help me make that? Not ChatGPT 5, because it's terse and people don't like it very much.
It takes forever.
Yeah, and it takes forever. But honestly, any of the other models, I think that'd be a lot of fun. I just wanted to share that with you all here. I was thinking about the Trix rabbit the other day, and I was like, you know what would be really great? Is if I had a script written by a large language model of that, and then maybe we can start feeding scenes into Veo 3, depending on how averse it is to using intellectual property, to see what the Trix rabbit could be up to. I expect my Emmy, I guess, next year, right?
Do you do the thing,
Oscar, excuse me,
where when you come across that, it refuses to do it because I'm not going to, create the Trix rabbit,
right?
But then you go to another model. I usually go to Claude and say, I need a detailed description of Trix the rabbit. However, you cannot directly reference Trix the rabbit. Then, okay, great. Copy that.
I need a white rabbit that's obsessed with cereals. Yeah.
And then you paste it in, and what comes out is Trix the rabbit. Like, because
Right.
the model knows who Trix the rabbit is. You just have to figure out how to tell it to make Trix the rabbit without telling it to make Trix the rabbit.
Is it that they just need plausible deniability?
Yes, that is all they need.
I think that is a portion of it, but also because, here's the list of all the things you're not allowed to talk about, and they're reinforced during training of like, if they say anything that's under copyright law, please don't use it.
It's one of the reasons
I just want a video of a rabbit. It's just a rabbit that loves cereal.
I like Midjourney is that they will allow you to say, I want this to look like Trix the rabbit, and okay, fine. We'll make it look like Trix the rabbit. Or I want it to be, I don't know, pick some artist. Oh, it should, look like a painting by Picasso. Whereas you go to GPT-4's image generator and it says, no, we can't do that. I've got to go to Claude and say, okay, describe Picasso without referencing Picasso.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Claude has caught on to this. And because they'll be like, oh, I understand.
You're just coming. You can't go to the other parent and just ask.
Yes.
Well, he won't do it.
They still do it, but they're like, oh, so you're trying to get around the copyright rules. I understand that. Here, let me help you. Like,
That's very
I'll
funny.
literally get that back in my responses.
Amazing. It turns out the Trix rabbit doesn't have a name, by the way. Like all the other ones, there's Tony the tiger. There's, I guess, Lucky is probably the leprechaun's name from Lucky Charms. Pretty sure. But the Trix rabbit, he's just like his name's not Trix. We're getting into cereal. This used to be an AI podcast, and now it's a cereal podcast.
I'm going to look at our topics. We got to get back on
fine, I guess.
on track here. Perplexity. Perplexity is
Are
going to
you
buy Google
perplexed
Chrome.
by my cereal talk? That was a very, very good segue. Thank you very much, everyone. Go ahead and at me in the comments of what a good segue that was.
Perplexity, of
Rate
which
it from 1 to 10.
I am a pro member, and I've been using more, by the way. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Tell
Perplexity.
me, what is, for those of us not in the know, what's a perplexity? What do they do? How do they do it?
Perplexity is known for being an alternative to Google search that is powered by large language models, a potentially better Google search that's somewhere between a Google search and a deep research mode, if you've played with the deep research mode on any of these other models, where it's going out kind of like a human, trying to collect a whole bunch of information and come back with the report as the answer versus just here's a link to here's the answer to your question. But and they don't build their own models. They may have a couple or something, but in general, they're leveraging other people's models to build their platform.
Right.
And they've got some pretty decent traction. I don't even know. Actually, I do know how. I'm a pro tier. They gave away a lot of pro tier memberships, which I think is like $250 a year. And
a year? Wow.
Yeah.
That's like 10 or so ChatGPT memberships right there. A tenth.
Of their pro tier, but then it automatically renews. It was one of those things
that's how they get you.
It's renewed twice on me now, and I haven't. But anyways, they recently released a browser called Comet. It's still in beta. You've got to technically be invited to it. I did finally receive my invite. I was a little.
I'm jealous. I was gonna say. Yep. You weren't super jazzed about it, right?
No, I opened it up and I was like, "What is this?" Because in general, what it is Chromium. So it's just Google Chrome. And you have a button in the top right that will open up something that looks just like ChatGPT on the right, where you can have a chat-like conversation with it. Mm-hmm. And you can ask it those search questions. But in general, it lives in this bar over here. And I've got my browser over here. And they heavily sold it as this super agentic thing where the AI is going to navigate for you and complete tasks similar to the agent mode that we've seen in other providers.
Does it do it and you just don't like it being a bar on the right?
So a lot of things it doesn't. It actually does take some actions, but in general, it's not taking actions. It's just the...
you don't see it move your mouse on the screen.
No.
All right. That's kind of what I was expecting.
That's what I was expecting too. It's not
you just sit there, navigate me to my news page, and then you watch the cursor go and...
But... And so honestly, the feature that I use the most in it is there's a summarize button. So if you're on a page... And you're like, okay. And for example, you send me some Reddit link and there's a lot of comments here. I just hit the summarize button and it's like, oh, here's the summary. I'm like, okay, I get it.
I I stand firmly by the fact that summarize is one of the best uses of a large language model. I also think that can be very easily abused because you can look at something that's like, this would take 2 minutes to read. Yeah, but what's one paragraph of it? I think that is probably an abuse of it, but I have been on some very long email chains and like, hey, Daniel, just CCing you on this to make sure that you're aware. Oh, no, this thing goes back to 2023. And boy, I don't want to read that whole thing. So can you give me a one pager of what the hell all of this is about? Very thankful for these kinds of tools.
I have now made it my default browser.
Despite the fact that it's not doing as many actions as you were hoping for it to be.
Right.
It's being Comet.
The reason why is because Chrome recently started enforcing some new rules around their extensions, and a bunch of my extensions, including my ad blocker, was killed. And there's no easy way of getting it back.
I moved to Firefox for that very reason.
Well, I now have moved to Comet for that very. So Comet has built-in ad blocking, and it's Chromium, so it's basically just Chrome, and all my other extensions can come over, and in fact, they'll import them all for you. Right. So I have a very simple. Okay, I still have my Chrome browser that I'm most familiar with. I do use several browsers, but that's the one I use for most things. And it's been a fairly seamless transition while I kind of start playing with some of this agentic browser stuff to see what the hype is. I haven't really felt the hype. This offer now for Perplexity to purchase Google Chrome, because in theory, the government's telling them they have to sell it off. They have to separate it out of the Alphabet Corporation. I think it's just a publicity stunt, right? To get more.
I want to know where they got all the money.
They don't. I don't think they have the money. Their company is not worth 34.
You can't make an offer like that, like in a public setting for a business, whatever. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to say that unless they can take you up on the offer.
I'm pretty sure you're allowed to say
backing.
Daniel, there's always terms.
Musk ended up having to buy Twitter.
Yeah, I think there were actual terms to that deal. There was like an offer and paper but even when you put together an offer, you can say all sorts of stipulations on it, and it has to clear this diligence. And you can also make an offer pending funding. This is not an absurd idea. Just like you can offer to buy a house, but it's contingent on you selling your existing house first because you don't have the money to buy this new house.
Well, no, but Perplexity does have it. Like they said, there are multiple large investment funds that have agreed to finance the transaction in full. Quote.
I'm offering $40 billion right now here today for Google Chrome.
That does it for me, folks. I am no longer associated with this podcast or Hunter Powers in any way. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
$40 billion. We've got it, right? Well, we don't have it. There's a lot of contingencies.
The contingency being you have absolutely no backing behind it.
Someone gives us $40 billion.
You absolute maniac.
And I don't really know that I really want. This just reeks of.
I know what the title of this podcast episode is going to be. At this point, oh my goodness. And then the next one is with you behind jail bars. That's going to be the
with the Chrome logo. So.
Yeah. Tried to buy it for $40 billion, ended up with 40 years in the slammer. Do you think that they're going to have good enough Wi-Fi there that we can keep doing the podcast?
No, I'm going to have to do this thing like where we call in on the payphone and you got the person getting off.
The problem with payphones is that it's 8 kilohertz audio, and so like the quality is going to be way down. But we will replace Hunter's face with just sort of like a AI version for those of you who are watching.
Thank you.
Podcasting. And I guess, hold on. When it comes to poor quality audio, like off of a phone, I realize you would have to hallucinate the details of it. But just like you can up-res an image and like, okay, maybe it started to kind of hallucinate some things that weren't there. Phone audio is rough. It is not great. What if you were to clean it up and like make it not just fill in the space to make it 16 kilohertz, but like make it higher quality? I'm sure somebody's done that. I'm going to have to look around for that.
No, it does exist. It's just not in real time at this point. I would say that Adobe has the best tools for this. And in fact, it's
Adobe.
It hasn't been confirmed, but the strong belief of how they're like creating this, like how did you get that audio out of this original one? Is that they are actually using a text-to-speech engine. So first they take your original audio, they figure out what you said, then they use a text-to-speech engine where they try to model what they think your voice would sound like. Then they're rendering out
like
the
a voice
model.
cloning thing.
Yes, they clone a better version of your voice, render that out, and then mix it with the original recording to create this. Because it's It's too good. And it's also off. It has that uncanny valley effect on it. And it's too good. So it's like, how did you do that? And the belief is they're actually just generating all of the audio again and mixing it with the original.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
But we've seen the things for call centers being advertised where they're going to like erase the whatever accent from the country that you're in so that you sound like you're localized.
I saw that from Crisp. I haven't seen it in action. I really want to see it. And like you could say that there are some problematic aspects of that, but I'm just interested in the technology side. I don't want to touch any of the like cultural or is it a racism or something like that. Like, no, I just want to see like an accent switcher, and not to say make it radio standard English. I want to hear me with an Irish accent or a whatever.
I look at the Irish.
Yeah.
So you don't need
that. Man, we don't need the technology. We've just got Hunter.
Exactly. What else? No, I'm not.
I do think that like, there's a lot of fun uses of the technology where obviously that same fun use is going to be misused for like misinformation and stuff. But I'm a guy who plays a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and I can't do many accents, and I certainly can't do them well. And so I want to say, like, I need a really good Norwegian accent for this character, and then I just talk, but then my players like hear a really good. It's still my voice, but it sounds Norwegian.
Have you played with the 11 Labs voice designer?
A little for the Dublin thing.
Okay, so the 11 Labs voice designer is really good. And they recently released an update for that. I think it's like the V3 update. But basically, you can describe the individual that you would like to be talking and the accents and the age. And by the way, what I do is I just think of some famous person and then I go to Claude and I say, please describe their voice without directly referencing them. And then I copy and paste it back in because they won't let you say an individual to clone. Yes. But you can recreate Scarlett Johansson. Not that I would know, but you can have your own personal ScarJo whispering sweet nothings into your ear.
Oh boy. And you've got, okay. Well, in other, definitely unrelated to that news, when it comes to making AI waves for a company that isn't necessarily associated with it, Duolingo. A little while ago, there was backlash. There was outrage because, of course, there's backlash and outrage. There always is.
I haven't learned any new languages since they announced that they're going to use AI.
Were you learning any languages before then?
Technically, no, but I was thinking about it.
Oh, okay. You were thinking about it, and now you're not.
I've taken no action.
Okay, great.
Because I figure the company's going to be, they're going to go out of business probably within the next, 6 months because there was tons of outrage.
Yeah, right. Oh, we used AI, the obvious use case for the sort of thing that we do, to help accelerate the rollout of a bunch of new language pairs. And rabble, internet mad. So obviously this is doom. Duolingo's on their way out. They are going to go out of business. Nope. 40% year over year jump in daily active users. Revenue's up. Sure, people might have complained, but it's a perfect use of this kind of technology to say we have a lot of data on a bunch of languages, and like machine translation's gotten really good, certainly for a just some regular schlub learning the basics of a language level. Let's do a bunch of language pairs that didn't exist. They came out with 148 new language courses. They more than doubled what they had, basically all at once. And yes, people got upset, but to hell with them. This is helping the world come together by people being able to learn more languages. Yes, they don't have an army of people who are associated with, like, I'm going to build this one course, but I've been on the record multiple times on this podcast of saying humans labeling stuff for a living is not an ideal job. And this is the kind of job that I think probably should be going away because AI can do it. And can do it better and can certainly do it a hell of a lot faster. A quick anecdote. There was a beta, maybe still is, like a beta release thing on Duolingo where you could see, like, we have a beta version of this course and it's X% done and you could probably get this amount through the course and you could try some of them out early. And I wanted to do learning Swahili from the perspective of English through this. And there were like updates, and they had like a team of 3 people who were sometimes working on it. And like, yes, humans from, I think, Kenya, maybe Tanzania, something like that. And they were working on this course, and it was like their recordings of it specifically. And you could say this is a bit more of a bespoke course as a result, but it's also inflexible against rapid change. It's inflexible about taking that Swahili knowledge and applying it to all of the other language pairs in any kind of timely fashion. Why not help the world connect a bit more with more of these language pairs that you could learn from and to? So I'm personally not upset about it, and apparently a bunch of other people aren't, because daily active users are way up and revenue's up. So
first question,
stocks up too, for those who care about that.
All stocks are up right now.
Yeah,
but do you think it was it virtue signaling?
Yeah.
Or was it something else?
No, virtue signaling. Absolutely. Because anything that is like jobs that either are being done by people or could have been done by people if only gave them the chance, being removed by AI is an obvious piece of rage bait. I don't want every job going away. I want some jobs going away, I personally. And other folks have a much more human-centric line that they've drawn in the sand. And I can absolutely understand why anyone would take those lines. But again, I don't think that like label data for a living should be a thing.
And I think that another industry that we're very clearly seeing this transition in right now is the entertainment industry, where it started that someone might use ChatGPT to doctor up a script and add something to now we're going to replace the actors and all that sort of stuff, and tons of outrage and strikes, etc. And now studios are coming out saying, we used AI for a lot of the special effects in this. And by the way, there's no way we could have made this if we weren't allowed to use AI, because the budgets that we need to be able to create these shows, which just would not have been possible. And I see us getting more and more accepting. Like, I don't really care. Like, I'm watching some whatever new Netflix thing is.
Well, AI for special effects, machine learning, whatever, the algorithms that drive making an explosion or a fire effect, that by some definitions is AI and has been for years. It's just in vogue to get outraged in general. Boy, that's what, fuels so much of the internet, but it is in vogue to be outraged anytime you see AI did a thing. And a lot of what already exists couldn't, and I don't mean like generative AI, large language model stuff, but if you're just against anything AI, there's a lot of the world that already has been relying on it quietly for years. It's just now in vogue to be upset about it.
Yeah, I think it's like a change management process. We know that we're going to change.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. Like I always wonder is like, does anybody not understand that? Like that's where it's going. Why do we have to go through this change management process? I've always hated change management. It's been something as a manager I get dinged on, because I'm like, let's just go to the conclusion. Why do we need to have this long drawn out arguments?
Here's the new thing. Shut up. Use it.
Yes. Just do that. Okay. We all know exactly where it's going. I don't know. With most things, it's like, all right, stop for a second and consider where you think we're going to be in 50 years. And do you think where we're going to be in 50 years with this? Let's just go ahead and jump to that point so that we can stop all this unnecessary nonsense. But maybe we need it. Maybe society needs it. These are big changes that are happening. Maybe it's healthy. Maybe it's helping with the overall psychosis. Maybe it's really just a mechanism to think through these things in depth and make sure we have the right structures around it, even though it's not presented as that. It's presented as the end of the world, and I can't believe it, and I'm going to go cry on social media. It's happening.
Look at all the likes I just got by being outraged.
Right. It's performative, but isn't a lot of life performative?
We're all performing for status and a mate and money and food.
I mean, we're performing right now.
Shelter.
That's true. The camera goes off, we're like, yeah, okay.
Granted, we're not made. Yeah, that's how Hunter usually talks.
Hey, man.
We're not making money off of this. I haven't heard a lot about status. I'm already married with kids.
The 12
so I'm
people
good
who
there.
watched the last episode.
We have a lot more listeners than watchers, but honestly, we're getting some numbers on those YouTube channels, the YouTube Shorts too.
There's a back there behind me. There's a little counter. I think there's 500-ish subscribers to the YouTube channel. There's more watchers than that, but there's people who have subscribed. Yeah. By the way, how could someone subscribe?
If you're watching this but you're not subscribed, how the heck are you going to know that we have another episode coming out? Other than the fact that we tell you that we're going to be out, once or twice a week. The point is, you can't. There's no way of knowing without using Perplexity's Comet. Or
if you ever wanted to directly influence an episode, hit the button and watch the counter behind me increment. Come back.
You could be part of the 4 pixels over there.
That I think are blurred out, but yeah, they're back there. Trust me.
Yep, I trust you.
And if you trust us, hit subscribe, leave a comment. As we continue this conversation of figuring out what in the heck is actually going on, what is the truth, where are the lies, where are we going, when will we be there, how can we just fast forward 50 years into the future and
manage the change? How do we manage it?
I guess that's really what it's all about. And until next time, when we return for yet another episode of...
They might be self-aware.